Hi, everybody. This is RS Mallory. It is June 20th. It is the summer solstice. That means the first day of summer, and happy solstice to you. The reason I'm mentioning that is because for several years now, we have people that we meet and people that we know who used to go on vacation during the summer and were planning their vacations. And due to the pandemic and the combination of that and the economy, which is still not, it never really recovered for various different reasons. We have people who we're going to be meeting, and indeed people who we do know who are suffering financially. They could use some extra money. They're not taking their vacations. And so the topic of tonight's training will be, who is your perfect prospect? And there is no such thing as a perfect prospect, but because of the economy and the way it is and the time of year that it is, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to discuss this. So let's first of all, talk about your warm market or people that you know. Maybe you know them from church. Maybe you play bingo. Maybe you play pickleball or tennis. Maybe you have a mahjong group. Maybe you volunteer at the food bank or the local pet place. Lots of people still do those things, and I think that that's wonderful. And those are a very large circle of influence, absent of your family and your friends. So people do know a lot of folks. In fact, if you look in your smartphone, and as many of you know, I really don't use, I'm not a techie, but if you do look in your smartphone, most people have over 1,000 people in their contact list. I still keep an address book, a brick and mortar address book, and I also use my Google contacts, but I don't use it on the smartphone. But it virtually is the same thing. Most of us have at least 1,000 people that we know, and that's just a sign of the times. I mean, if you go back 20, 30 years ago, I mean, to say that you knew 1,000 people, we really don't know them all because they're not personal relationships. But because of the internet and because of social media, we have expanded our horizons. So that does become a venue and a way for us to be meeting new people. Excuse me. And out of all those people that we meet, we do have people who are looking for various different ways of making money, maybe part-time income, maybe full-time income. Now, so who is your perfect prospect? It depends on your frame of reference. I'm a baby boomer. And most of the people in my generation are either looking to retire or have already retired. And the money that they put away is not making it. It's not being able to pay all the bills simply because of the rate of inflation and because of the money that they put away. And so nobody can live on Social Security. So my frame of reference for the people that I know in my lifetime happen to be baby boomers. It doesn't mean, though, that I would just specifically hone in on the baby boomers. But if I was talking to somebody who was a peer of mine who was a baby boomer, I might say to them, gosh, I feel sorry for people who, are just trying to live on retirement and Social Security. And I know that we all have grandchildren now, and times have changed and the economy isn't so great. Expenses are going up. Rent and mortgages have doubled and tripled and quadrupled. I found a way several years ago to supplement my income, and I started out with a part-time business and I parlayed that into full-time income. Is that something you might be interested in? And in many of my trainings, I talk about asking questions. So you just want to ask a question. And I know that people don't want to hear this, but the truth is not everybody is meant to be in e-commerce or direct sales or network marketing. So what we are doing is we're looking for the people who will have an interest in creating an income. Maybe it will be a part-time income for them. Maybe it will be a full-time income for them. Maybe it's grandma and grandpa in my generation who are looking to just supplement their standard of living. Maybe they had to give up their trips to Europe every summer or their trips down to the Cape. Or now I'm living in Texas, Corpus Christi and Padre Island, or wherever it is that you go, because they just can't afford it anymore. Now, it doesn't mean that I have to just be myopic and think about the people that I know who are baby boomers in my generation, because certainly this industry appeals to a lot of different people and a lot of different generations. As a matter of fact, I'm not very big on social media, as you know, and I'm not a technophile, but that doesn't mean that my son, who's in his 40s, and indeed, even people who are younger than him, take to technology and social media like a duck takes to water. So would I be smart to try to build relationships with those types of people? Yes, because are they going to be able to be a little bit more successful on a different level? They'll be able to use social media, and they'll be able to use stories and reels and all kinds of other stuff that I'm really not very comfortable with, and you may or may not be yourself. But if you reach out to people on a broad spectrum, age spectrum, you will find out that those people have different needs. So my conversation with somebody, let's say, who's working their way through college, who's in their early 20s, might be, gosh, I remember when my son was working his way through school, he was slinging pizzas and he was doing this, and he was working at the gas station, and he was a lifeguard during the summer, and things have changed now. And it would be wonderful if my son was going to college now, because he is a technophile and he would be able to do direct sales and generate a part-time income that would help him through college. And indeed, by the time he got out of college, it might even grow into a full-time income. Oh gosh, Jane, is that something that you might be interested in? Are you looking for a part-time income that won't take away from your studies as you're going through school? You're just simply asking a question. Now, whether you're talking to somebody who's a baby boomer in my generation, or you're talking to Jane who's going to college, once you ask the question, what you need to do is listen to their responses. And if they have questions, don't be afraid to answer their questions. Listen to what they're asking you, simply because questions are good. If a person starts asking you different questions, well, what's it all about? What are your products? How much money can I make? Answer the questions. Just don't be afraid of questions. Just answer the questions, and then always come back with them and say, is that something you'd be interested in? Could you reach out and contact people on social media? And if we showed you a system that was very simple and would take maybe an hour a day, is that something you could fit into your college schedule? I would say something a little bit different if I'm talking to my baby boomer friends, but you get the point. You ask questions and you gear them towards whatever generation the person is in. Now, there might be people in their 40s, maybe even in my son's generation, or maybe even a little bit older in their 50s, who maybe hit it big when they were in their business years and they took an early retirement, but they too are struggling because, you know what, people aren't such great money managers. And because the way the economy is today, it just kind of took everybody by surprise. Eggs are still up. You can pay as much as $6.99 for a dozen eggs. I remember when eggs were 99 cents a dozen. I remember when a Hershey bar, and I'm dating myself, but I am a baby boomer, when a Hershey bar, a little Hershey bar like this, was 5 cents. That was when I was a little girl in the early 50s. Then it went to 10 cents. Then it went to 25 cents. Now I think they're pretty close to $1, I think, or maybe you can get two for $1.50. I don't know. I don't even buy them anymore. But the inflation has just run away with itself. Now, the reason I want to mention that is because I want to talk about products. Getting back to basics with your products, no matter what company you're in, and we're in Gobi, and our flagship product was the fuel tabs. And you know what? The economy is still struggling, and people all over the country, and indeed all over the world, are still having a challenge putting petrol, gasoline, into their cars. So just 2 weeks ago, I spent about $3.69 a gallon. This week, I spent $2.88, which is an anomaly. And I fill up 10 gallons at a time. So this week it cost me $28.80. Last time I filled up, it cost me $3.69 or $3.89. So it cost me a bit of money. It cost me about $37 to fill up for that same 10 gallons. So when you use our fuel tabs, the first thing it does is it reduces the emissions in your car, because it's the fuel tab itself is burning the gasoline at a higher temperature, and in doing so, it gets more power out of it, and it makes the gasoline last longer. And also it's burning cleaner, which is why the emissions are decreased. So when the emissions are decreased, it means that you have less maintenance on your car. You don't have to change your oil as much. And when you buy gasoline for your car, you are saving money no matter what the price is. I spent the last 2 years taking the amount of money that I paid for gasoline, and I put in $10 gallons at a time, whether it cost me $50, and gas indeed went over $5 a gallon here at one point in Austin, Texas. So I was paying way over $5. I know our friend Smiley in California is paying $5, $6, $7. Anyway, he's in California. People in New York, New York State, New York City, and the East Coast are paying a lot of money too, because they have a lot of taxes, just like California does. So they're paying more money. Everything is a boon. It is a good thing to save money. So it doesn't matter whether the gasoline is $5 or $6 or $7 a gallon, or you're paying $3 a gallon. If you take the differential, when I hit 112 miles on my tripometer, then I take the amount of money that I paid for that 10 gallons and I put it in grandma's cookie jar. And I just emptied out that cookie jar from 2 years worth of stuffing it every time I put gas in my car. And I had over $1,800. That's not chump change. That's just for our flagship product. Now, some people become very daunted, and because their company starts adding different kinds of products. And indeed, Goldie ordered added some extraordinary products. We have the best weight loss product on the planet, which experienced a name change. It went from wow to win, and indeed we're winning. We have an extraordinary glutathione product, which keeps your body working properly and staying young, and it is anti-aging, and it is assimilated into the body. It's Boost. We have now some electrolytes. We have a cleanse. We have an apple cider vinegar gummy, and indeed they're adding different products. And we have our wonderful Smart Coffee, which is with our maca root, Peruvian organic maca root, and our reishi mushroom, which is the master medicinal mushroom, which is an extraordinary product. And you know, coffee is the #2 commodity traded around the world on all of the trading platforms. And also it is the #2 drink that people drink on a daily basis. About 95% of the population of the earth drinks coffee. So you can never run out of prospects, whether they're 18 years old or whether they're 75 or 80 years old. It matters not, because everybody drinks coffee. And indeed, when I'm chatting with people and I ask them, gosh, do you enjoy a good cup of coffee? If they happen to tell me no, I ask a question. I ask them, well, do you mind if I ask you why it is that you are not drinking coffee? And most of the time the people tell me it's because they're having a severe bad reaction to the caffeine. They're getting headaches, they're getting jitters, they're getting shakes, they're getting stomach aches. And then I just ask another question and I say, that's a horrible reaction to coffee. I used to brew 2 pots of coffee myself. I know what you mean about the jitters. So I kind of agree with them. And then I say to them, you know, Our smart coffee has the organic maca root in it, and that alleviates any of the negative effects of caffeine in your body. So you'll no longer suffer from stress or headaches. Is that something you might be interested in? Would you like me to send you a free sample? And they will either say yes or they will say no. Most of the time when people tell me they're not drinking it and it's because of those negative reasons, they get very excited when they hear, just in a very short minute, that I tell them that this product might help them. Yes, there's a few of them who tell me that they're afraid to try it, and that's fine. You know, ladies and gentlemen, in the direct sales industry over the years and indeed the decades, we have been told, and it's absolutely true, we don't want to twist anybody's arm. We don't want to talk anybody into this, because then you have to talk them into taking the products every single month. This is about finding the people who either have an interest in your products to be customers, and or people who were interested in a business opportunity because they are seeking to make some extra money, or they're seeking to replace a full-time income or replacement income for that which they have lost. So again, we're not trying to twist anybody's arm or talk people into anything. So ask questions. And my good friend Tom Schreider, who teaches basic skills, and I talk about him all the time. For instance, he might say to people in regards to coffee, gee, 6 months ago, I started introducing people to our terrific coffee, and it has helped me generate a part-time income and more. Is that something that you might be interested in? They're going to say yes, or they're going to say no. Most likely they'll say, well, what's it all about? And again, that's a great question. And then you say, well, what specifically are you interested in knowing about the coffee or the money that I'm earning and how I'm earning it? So don't be shy. Express yourself, find out what it is the person is interested in. You know, when people come to you or you lead with the product, once they say no, they're not interested, you have no place to go. But if you start with the business opportunity and they say they're independently wealthy, grandma left them $10 million, which doesn't really happen too often, you can still say to them, oh, lucky you, that's great. But you did mention to me that you're having some challenges when you're drinking your Kona coffee, which is very, very expensive because it's giving you the jitters and the shakes. So may I send you a sample of my coffee, and you will experience a smooth cup of coffee that's rich and robust with no stress, no strain, no jitters, no shakes. And it just might be something, since you have all of grandma's money, that you might be interested in. And by the way, I have people who didn't inherit $10 million who are still drinking this coffee because it's very reasonable as well. Might I send you some? Do you take it black or do you take it with cream and sugar? Because we have two kinds. So engage in friendly conversations with people. And this doesn't matter whether the person is 30 years old or 20 years old or 50 years old or 75 or 80 years old. Again, you do want to direct your questions and the reasons that you're talking with them based on what their generation is, based on what their interests might be, based on what their circumstances might be, whether or not, and if you know them, you're way ahead of the game. You know whether they're married or divorced or they're remarried or they have children or their children are growing, or perhaps somebody is sick at home, or maybe they had to remortgage the house or second mortgage the house, or maybe the child went off to college and they're having a hard time finding ways to get that college kid a vehicle, and they need a vehicle. So there's all different ways. Or again, it could be the college kid himself who's looking for an opportunity that won't take more than an hour a day for him to generate some income with skills that he already has, skills that he already knows. And if you show him how to direct those skills properly, he can start building himself a part-time income and attracting his own peers, and indeed other people as well. When my son went off to university years ago, they had a parents group and they were selling as a booster goodie boxes when the kids had their college exams. And I use that as a perfect example because I always thought that would be great if I had a product that I could encourage people to put in that goodie box, that the kids would love it and the parents who were paying for it would also get exposure to it. For instance, our smart coffee, because a lot of college kids take things to try to keep themselves up to cram for studying and stuff. But imagine if they could have a cup of coffee that instead of giving them jitters and shakes and making them stressed out and crazed and keeping them up so they're falling flat on their faces, would give them focus and energy and help them be able to absorb the information that they're actually needing, that is requisite for them to have so they can get through their exams. Gosh, that's something that you could talk about to somebody who is actually going through college. And I betcha that they would be interested in talking to some of their other college friends who aren't on, a completely 100% paid by their parents way of doing it and need some extra money. Way back when I started in network marketing 30 years ago, and I was 30 years younger, when we met younger people, it was always a terrific thing to find somebody who was a youngster in their early 20s who would catch on to what we were doing and get so excited about it that they would become successful because we equipped them with the skills that they didn't have, and we utilized the skills that they did have, and we showed them how they could use those skills to generate an income. And they became very, very successful. They completed their college. By the time they get out of college, or maybe they didn't even go to college, they were going to go to college, but they had generated and created such a large income by the time they were going to do that, that they did not go to college, which I don't suggest. I suggest that everybody, if you can, get a college education. I spent 7 years working my way through school to get my college degrees. And it was well worthwhile because it taught me many, many skills that I use in my direct sales career many, many, many decades later. I taught first, second, and third graders for 25 years. And when I was introduced to this industry, I found out that, big kids, adults, are just like little kids. If you're talking to a room of people or you're talking to a couple of people on a Zoom call, it's the same thing as when you're in a schoolroom. I'm using the same schools. And in fact, teachers have the largest percentage of success in network marketing out of any other profession of people because they're disciplined. They know how to present to people. They know how to listen, which is something I talk about often. And then they speak to what they're hearing, whether it's questions or whether it's circumstances or needs. They're speaking to it and they're giving people back that information so they can make a decision that's right for them. And if somebody says no right now, that's fine. I ask them, would you be interested in receiving my monthly newsletter? And I send around a monthly newsletter so that people know about what's going on in my business, what's going on with any new products, all the new innovative things that are happening, maybe some health reports, things like that. And I also have customers, and most of I have 2 residual incomes. I have a 14-year residual income with one company. And of course, Govee now, I'm blessed to have started 2 years ago. So I'm creating a residual income with Govee as well. So I have 2 different newsletters, but they both have the same function. They both keep people advised, my customers and my distributors alike, of the new things that are happening. I educate them. And also prospects who have said no, because you never know when somebody's circumstances change. Maybe somebody passes away, maybe somebody was told by the doctor that they have to give up caffeine in their coffee. Maybe somebody is told that their blood sugars are too high or their blood levels are too low and they need to get on a glutathione product. You just don't know what's going to happen. And so if you have a relationship that you maintain with people whether they're in your business or not, as prospects, then you can have an ongoing conversation with them in the form of a newsletter, or perhaps just a little note, whether I prefer email, but you might do it on texting, or you might do it on private messaging on social media. So back to our prospects, there is no perfect prospect. Keep your awareness open. It doesn't matter if you decide that you're a baby boomer and you're only going to talk with baby boomers, you're selling yourself short. Your business will not grow as fast as if you decide to diversify. Think of how you interrelate with your grandchildren and their friends. Think about when you go dancing because you love to tango or you love to square dance, and once a week or once a month, your church or the local town has, here in Austin, Texas, we have a group that does tango. And so you go there and you meet people from all different generations and all different ages and all different cultures. And, keep yourself open to those people. And by the way, that's the way you keep yourself young. And as you do that, you will be able to infuse your organization and your business with different kinds of people, with different kinds of needs. And frankly, that's what gives the lifeblood to any healthy organization, not just one age group or one particular culture. So please understand that there is no recipe for the perfect prospect. Make sure when you're chatting with people that you are aligning your discussion or the things that you're saying with them. You're presenting something to them on a level that they're going to need. If you talk to a 20-year-old who's putting himself through college and you're talking about retirement money, it's going to go way over their head and they're just not going to be interested. They're not going to, they're 20 years old. My goodness, they're not thinking about retirement. I remember when I got my teacher's contract, I was a single mom. My son was a little boy. And they told me, well, we're going to pay you a lot of money on your contract, but there's no pension for your retirement. I was in my early 30s, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought to myself, gosh, retirement, who cares about retirement? That's like when I'm going to be an old person. And you know what? The years go by, and it was all delicious and wonderful, and it still is. And along came the age when you're supposed to retire, and there was no pension. So I have Social Security, but I've been working in the network marketing arena for the past 30 years. And I have, as I said, I have developed recurring residual income. And I'm blessed that I have a 14-year-old company that I'm with now, and Goldie for 2 years. And so, it is about helping other people meet their needs, their goals, and their dreams. And I do that by asking questions and gearing my questions to the people according to what their age group is, what their cultural group is, what their needs might be. Because if you do that, then you will find that you're going to have a flourishing organization. So thank you for joining us this evening. It was a short trip. Happy summer solstice. Don't forget, keep your eye out for the people. If you are fortunate, you're one of the ones who is going to go on vacation, or maybe you're going to go on a different kind of a local vacation, or instead of flying someplace, you're going to take a road trip and meet all the different people that you have. Because if people are traveling, they indeed would like to replenish the money that they're spending, no doubt. And please, we appreciate that you're here. Get back to the person who invited you to listen to this call. And if you have any questions, get your questions answered. We'd love to have you take a look at Goldie. Thank you. Have a blessed evening and a great summer. Bye-bye.